My goal is to fight hard in these upcoming months to make Germany great again, just like America has taught me, particularly now as we are approaching the big re-elections in January. Germany desperately needs a political revolution as we have suffered the consequences of the far-left authoritarian regime under the traffic light coalition for these past years. We must remove the unbearable tax and bureaucracy burden on the people as the economy is in shambles all across Europe actually. Our energy crisis in Germany has never been more disastrous while we are paying CO2 taxes, destroyed our nuclear power plants thanks to Vice-Chancellor Habeck and his eco-socialist policies, and now this same guy is running for Vice-Chancellor again. And we are funding the Ukraine-Russia war, which could have been stopped in its tracks with a sensible diplomatic peace agreement, which Putin would not only have agreed to, but he offered it in the first place. And the greatest scam against our own people is the disastrous immigration crisis that has been plaguing the country for 9 years now. We have to close the borders. And every alleged attempt that the regime has made to claim that we are now putting more restrictions in place to control the border, all of those claims have been lies. Verifiably, we are still suffering. We are still unsafe and unaffordable in Germany. And the only party that is willing to change all of that is the AfD.
Die Grenzen müssen zugemacht werden, sie müssen kontrolliert werden. Wo bleibt das? Wir wären bereit, aber hier wird nur der Stillstand proklamiert.
So let's talk about the re-elections. Our current chancellor from the far-left establishment party SPD, Olaf Scholz, has been trying to push these re-elections as far into the future as possible because he knows that his competence has been questioned, which is why these re-elections are also referred to as the trust question of the chancellor. And now Olaf Scholz is trying to implement as many far-left policies as possible before he gets evicted from his office once and for all. But the people are not having it, they're not putting up with it anymore because we are pissed off at this point. So now the re-elections are already happening in January instead of March or even later, which is what the current chancellor would have wanted. Interestingly though, the federal election director, who is in communication and best buddies apparently with Olaf Scholz, has claimed that the reason why we couldn't have re-elections sooner was that we couldn't print enough paper ballots in time. Wow, what an argument. Not only was this debunked by the head of the German paper printing industry, who confirmed that this is utter bullshit, but then even Poland introduced themselves to our political current situation and said, we are offering you printers and paper happily, which will support our economy as well. That's just what's happening in Germany right now. Who is going to win the re-elections? Despite polls demonstrating that the general sentiment in Germany strongly supports Alice Weidel for Chancellor from the AfD, and she's in second spot, and I do believe there could be a chance that if we push hard enough, then she could actually make it into the first spot if we're listening actually to the people. But unfortunately, we do not live in a direct democracy when it comes to the Chancellor. So most likely it's going to be Friedrich Merz from the Angela Merkel party, CDU. The CDU claims to be the more conservative party, however, that's only the case on paper. And clearly they have failed over these last 9 years as they started the entire immigration crisis. But in reality, they are not going to bring the change that the people seek. But who is Friedrich Merz going to form a coalition with? Because that makes a big difference, and I'll tell you why. It's not going to be the AfD. Even though that would be what one could assume, as the AfD is clearly the second strongest party. But Friedrich Merz can technically form a coalition with anyone, and he has stated very clearly in a strong speech a couple of days ago, it's never going to happen, as he denounced and roasted the AfD to pieces.
Weder vorher noch nachher, noch zu irgendeinem anderen Zeitpunkt gibt es eine Zusammenarbeit meiner Fraktion mit Ihren Leuten, egal mit wie vielen Leuten Sie hier im nächsten Deutschen Bundestag sitzen werden.
Friedrich Merz has clearly outed himself as disrespecting the democratic principles. He's also not going to form a coalition with the SPD, as that would make the AfD a very strong opposition party, which would give them even more power. Most likely, it's going to be the Green Party. And that's bad, because as Christian Lindner, the former finance minister who was just fired by Olaf Scholz, which caused the entire government to collapse in the first place, he's from the FDP, the economic party, and as he has just claimed, the CDU acts like a chameleon, which means that they absorb the policies from the party that they form a coalition with. Under the green-black coalition, what we can expect is green tyranny. Not just eco-socialism, but green tyranny, because it's only going to get worse. As Robert Habeck, the current Vice-Chancellor from the Green Party, who's also running for Chancellor for the Green Party, he has stated that he wishes for the restrictions on X to actually be implemented, meaning that our free speech shall be limited. And just recently, someone, a 64-year-old man, had his home raided because he reposted a meme which called Robert Habeck an idiot. Yes, it's illegal to insult politicians in Germany, and I wish it was possible, because there are a lot of people that I have a lot of words for, but these words must remain in my head. So it looks like we can expect the black-green coalition, unless we fight. And that's what I'm here to do. I want to fight hard, because I know that the only other consequence is that our country gets further destroyed, and the people will eventually be so pissed off that they will all try to vote for the AfD. But maybe at that point it's too late. What if it's too late? I don't want to see my country deteriorate, which is why I'm fighting. And I must express my highest gratitude to America, because you have inspired me. You've reignited the spark in me. There's a chance. When the people have a voice, there's a chance. And our voice is going to be amplified. We're working on this very hard together here on X, which is why I'm incredibly grateful for the international exchange. Let's make Germany great again.